Museum is a place where time does not matter. Looking at the artifacts, we are experiencing the most vivid and exciting moments of history. The program Secrets of Museums on Kazakh TV channel. Long ago, at the end of the 20th century, a symbolic art group was formed. Most likely the group was formed as the time required it, because it was destined to become a symbol of a new generation of a young state. In general, some forces contributed, stars were aligned, and the new group became famous not only in Kazakhstan but in the whole world. Although this will happen much later. In the meantime, in the late 80s, in the warm creative city of Shymkent, young people entered the art college. The second largest by population and the first in terms of area in Kazakhstan, the city of Shymkent has always been the center of the creative work of distinguished people. Here it is possible to realize all potentials. The nature of the southern Kazakhstan, clouds, hot plains, inspire creative people. It is near Shymkent, according to local residents, where the biblical Noah's Ark once landed. The bravest minds of the city decided this way. And in the place where they believed this Old Testament event happened, they put the ark for tourists and local enthusiasts to enjoy it, so they would not forget to dream. At the turn of the 80s and 90s, jazz festivals, poetic evenings were held in Shymkent. The most daring theatrical performances were staged. Therefore, it was here that the legendary art group, the symbol of the new time, was to be formed. In the 80s, Shymkent Art School became Kazakhstan's Montmartre, where all talented and unordinary personalities came to study. They came because an outstanding artist and philosopher, Vitali Simonov, taught there. His paintings and photographs, even at that time, aroused keen interest among connoisseurs of art. Aristanbek Shalbayev and Said Atabekov also entered this school, without any idea of how important this will be for their entire future life. Until today, the personality of Vitali Simonov in art remains mysterious and unrevealed, and all because of his modesty. He does not like to give interviews and believes that for this purpose there are more suitable people, as he says, more attractive ones. But it was this man who gave education to the whole generation of extraordinary artists. He gave them knowledge, directed them, and helped see bright and wonderful world.
Виталий Симаков – это такой человек, который где-то год назад начал преподавать в художественном училище имени Костеева.
Vitali Simonov is an amazing person. Not long before I came to work in Kosteyev Art School in Shymkent, he began to teach there.
И туда приходили получать.
He wasn't satisfied with this, and immediately, being enthusiastic, organized a group for artists, where everyone came to get new knowledge in the visual arts.
Получать какие-то другие новые знания.
He taught not just to draw with a pencil and a brush and to engage in handicrafts, but constantly seek inspiration, gain new knowledge.
Вообще люди вне искусства, преподаватели.
Students, teachers, as well as famous artists came to him. There were even people who didn't have relation to art. They all tried to learn something new for themselves.
Направление структурной школы тем людям, которые интересуются.
He taught us to see differently, to do things differently, and even to live in an extraordinary way, not like everyone else. In the afternoon after classes, young people were engaged in creative work in the art school. And in the evenings and weekends, they came to Simonov's studio, where they gave vent to their emotions and fantasies. Among the fantasies, there were self-written ads about the upcoming exhibitions of paintings. And the word self-written here is key because the students literally painted each page by hand. If these ads were preserved to this day, it would be possible to get a considerable sum for them. After all, each of them is almost a work of art. At night, the students pasted up advertisements on upcoming exhibitions across the city. This was a difficult work. It was necessary to stay away from different ruffians as well as to hide from law enforcement officers, who often took artists for night hooligans. In general, there was always somebody to run away from. But this gave the young artist a shake and a bit of adrenaline, which also helped to create easily and playfully. Vitali Simonov presented the students the works of the great European Impressionists, as well as other areas of contemporary art. It was he who told the students how to create wonderful things. Tectonics and architectonics, compositional idea and aesthetic embodiment. There are a lot of terms, but the main thing is to express own essence, remembering at the same time that it is necessary to love creativity itself and not oneself in it. Simonov also taught what can't be done before. And what is forbidden always attracts.
Ну, может, там, знаете, вот абстрактные вещи, да, например, кубистические там.
We were not allowed to create abstract things before. Cubism or surrealism were banned.
Время же была другая.
After all, in the old days, there was another advocacy for school of realism dominated.
А этот, то, что нам показывает.
Vitali Simonov showed us things which were unlike everything we knew. It was very interesting to comprehend all this.
Мы все прошли вот этот.
In Vitali Simonov's group of visual arts, we studied a structural school, got knowledge that we had never known about before.
Познакомились. Вот это все нас объединило.
All this united us. When we studied at the institute or in college, we just drew, but how it is necessary to see canvas, how to build space in sculpture and installations, what dimensions should be intensified and which colors should be toned down, all this was not taught in the institute, and, if taught, very little.
Вот это все в институтах и преподают. А если преподают, то это очень мало.
The students do not forget how they studied the great paintings on the illustrations in the book. They discovered the world which they weren't told about in those educational institutions where they received their basic education. Simonov taught us by books, which at that time was forbidden. They told about the works of outstanding artists, both European and Russian origin. We studied them intensively. We wanted to adopt a lot of things. Once a book about the Russian avant-garde was released on sale, it was a mystery how this book appeared on the shelves of Shymkin stores. It described the works of Malevich and Filonov artists of the 20s and 30s. And then the exhibitions were opened, mostly small, not noticed by the general public. Who would have noticed? At that period, in the early 90s, people thought more about vital things, for example, about food. But the harsh realities that hit the whole country did not cut the wings of artists. They did not just continue to create, but plunged headlong into a new world where prints and forms alternate and where perception is as much important as contemplation. In the new world, it was already possible to utter words such as impressionism or trans avant-garde.
Мы не считаем себя авангардистами.
We do not consider ourselves to be avant-garde. Avant-gardism was born 100 years ago. We try to take from it all the good things and create something of our own on this basis.
И делаем для себя.
Once in 1994, an event happened in the life of artists which influenced their further work. They suddenly decided to come up with an unusual title for their art group. When young people left the workshop, they saw a beautiful monument. It was a red tractor. The same as Soviet iron tractor, almost mechanical with a kerosene engine.
Прямо у входа был памятник.
The monument was right in front of us. By the way, it still situates in the same place.
Первого трактора,
It
механизм.
is an old tractor, the first gear, a real avant-garde, completely iron without any rubber belts.
Она была покрашена.
It was painted in red, and then our leader, Moldakul Narimbetov, said, "Let's call our group Cazale Tractor, Red Tractor." Everybody agreed.
И все согласились.
A ship will sail the way you name it. The art group Cazale Tractor, like the legendary car, was destined to impress people and, with its works, to gain recognition not only at home, but also abroad. One of the first projects of Cazale Tractor was an exhibition in Almaty, in the Cathedral of the Central Park. At that time, artists had no money to pay for renting a room, and no one asked for money from them. No one was going to help them either. Everybody survived as they could. It is because of financial difficulties that many participants of the art group left not only from Cazale Tractor, but also from art in general. Gradually, only a few people remained in the group. If Almaty was the center of art in Kazakhstan, then Cazale Tractor was in the very heart of this center.
Центр культуры, центр искусства в Казахстане – это Алмата, да? Большой.
The center of culture and art in Kazakhstan is certainly Almaty. We carried out the first large project in Kosteyev State Museum. This exhibition was completely organized by Cazale Tractor. It happened in 1995.
95 год. И после этого начали говорить, что вот арт-группа Cazale Tractor.
After the exhibition, people knew us. Everyone realized that our art is working at the modern level. Our works could already be shown abroad. We even heard rumors about what we're doing aside from art. What philosophy we're studying. Why we are interested in Sufism and even shamanism. And we just reflected it all through our art. Every Kazakh prefers to philosophize. Slow contemplation of the endless horizon will cause thoughts about the frailty of life and about the connection of the whole earthly life with the mighty power that encompasses everything around. Philosophy for artists is the meaning of their life. In the late 90s and early 2000s, artists had a desire to show a social direction in their work. It was necessary to express their attitude to the events that took place at that time. They worried about the problems of ecology and, most importantly, the ecology of the human soul.
А лично я вот в последнее время вот даже когда вот персонально выступил, я поднимал проблему экологии.
Currently, I like to raise the theme of oil in my work. This is not only an environmental issue, it is a symbol of our time.
Через, как вы видели, вот.
I use 200-liter barrels. For instance, in my installation, I place the barrels in a large chest. Everyone will think about own problems.
В большом сундуке.
Cazale Tractor proclaimed its art not violating the main principle gained in previous years. Art should not be shocking. It should be higher than PR and monetization. But it was more difficult to cope with monetization. Too much things were expressed in monetary terms.
То есть я хочу сказать, какие ценности у нас. Меняются ценности.
I want to pay attention to the values we live in. Values have changed.
Махамбет алсаңыз.
Before, we had butters, and now, what are the butters now? Who became the hero of our time? The one who has a lot of money.
У кого есть большие деньги?
Slowly but confidently, Cazale Tractor conquered Almaty. The group was very close to conquer the audience in Europe. Former simple people and now cosmopolitans plunged into the European biennial, quadrennial, and performances. Artists are offered not only canvases but also street performances. They had to become actors. The sophisticated Western audience applauds everything, but this does not mean that it does not need to be impressed. The art group members learned to contact people. They began to look at the world with eyes wide open, but on foreign trips, they couldn't help thinking about daily problems. When we started to tour to Europe, we often took felt carpets with us. We sold them there for $350. It was good money, they were enough for a trip.
$350 это в то время нормально было, да? И мы как-то попали в Австрию.
Once we traveled to Austria, as always, we had little money.
И как-то нам давали мало денег там.
We had suits of dervish.
Эти разные одежды, да, тут шаманские там одежды.
Moldakul Narimbetov had musical instruments, a drum, kobis, and we were sitting in a hotel. We didn't know what to do. Someone said, let's go to the square of Saint Sebastian.
Не знаем, что делать, да, и...
This happened in Vienna, and so we stood on the square and simply earned money. Then we collected everything we had earned in the bag. There was enough money for pizza. That evening, we had a good dinner.
Мы там на пиццу ходили кушать на пиццерию.
Once the life of the pilgrim brought Said Atabekov to exhaustion. Tired of the endless performances, he decided to break with the art once and for all. And then again, Simakov came to help. He said the words which Said afterwards made the motto of his life: treat art as a prayer. It worked and helped. Cazale Tractor, not only to this day but always has commercial success. There are artists who have individual and large orders, but the main thing for them is, as always, to achieve what has not yet been achieved. When we are abroad and see the works of other artists, it encourages us to do something better, and certainly in the Kazakh style.
Грамотно и чтобы было такое казахское.
Art Festival in Astana provided the site for installations for Cazale Tractor. Here they are headliners. Their works are recognizable and close. The Chest with Barrels by Aristembek Shalbayev, even upon a closer look, amazes with its filigree work. And of course, it makes people think. The metal saddle by Said Atabekov is the same embodiment of horse and equipment which has special energy. And here is the recognizable red avant-garde mechanism by Ismail Bayaliyev. Only this time, it was transformed from the tractor into the horse's head. But there are the same motives that are kept deep in the subconscious of each member of the art group. ArtFest is aimed to expand the boundaries of perception among the residents of the capital. It makes people think deeper than stereotypes in everyday life. And it is obvious that all these years, the artists have worked for a good reason. Of course, the study in the classic school bore its fruits for art group members. Simakov found hidden talents, and time made them stronger. Hardships could not break the character of the artists. And today, it is Aristan Shalbayev's turn to teach at the Kazakh National Academy of Arts, named after Zhurgenov. We teach to paint in the Academy of Arts, but I try to give more knowledge to my students. I want them to know what I've learned. The connection between large and small spots, the sequence of lines. They have a lot to learn. There are so much things to tell about the new generation. Make them get excited, and even better, to think. It would be better to reflect own epics about the new batters and heroes of our time on the canvas. The art group is ready to work further intensively.